on the rundown. Singer and beauty mogul Rihanna almost broke the internet when she announced earlier this week that she would be performing at next year's halftime show. But some are calling her a hypocrite. Stay tuned to find out why. Social media is dragging Young Miami after she said she wants to be the next Black Oprah. Wait, Oprah's not black?
What?
Don't tell me I've come down with a severe case of cataract. And speaking of dragging, the girls are still fighting because after going at it for hours on social media, Akbar V has dropped a diss track towards Cardi B. Cue, Let It Go from Frozen, please, child. Because this beef is beyond Tide. Plus, the ratings are in regarding first week numbers for Jennifer Hudson and Sherri's talk shows. All that and more on The Rundown featuring your host, Chris Avalon.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of The Rundown. I'm your host, Chris Avalon. And yes, in today's episode, basically, for those of you who have been tuning in for the first time, The Rundown is basically a show where I just give you a countdown of all the hottest topics that is popping off in entertainment news and celebrity gossip, all that good stuff. So, a lot of topics I'm going to be covering today. Sometimes it happens over there, sometimes it doesn't. But I want y'all to see my shirt. You like it? Oh, Pit Crew. That's what my shirt is. So yeah. But anyway, so a lot of the topics we're going to be covering today is going to be on the website, chrisavalon.com. So yeah, as you'll see at the bottom every now and again. Okay. We move over because a lot of stuff is popping up at once. So, okay. So before we get into the show and some of these topics, I kind of want to put y'all on to what's been happening as of late. Hold on, because okay. So I went to get my monkeypox vaccine this week, the first dose. I should say. I know some people popped up in my line when I posted it on social media. It was like, so what took you so long? And I basically was like, I wasn't in a hurry to get it because when I got it, when monkeypox and the stuff was going around, I think June was like when it first started out, like all the stuff was happening with the monkeypox situation. And there was a lot of transitions going on. Outside of doing this gig, I tend to do a lot of stuff in the medical field. So I work with DOH, MH. And basically, there was a lot of things going on. Like people were still trying to figure out what was going on with the whole monkeypox situation. I was not in a hurry to get it because a lot of people were in, the throes of trying to get it. They were trying to figure out what was going on. And it was hard to get an appointment. So now it's at a point where you can pretty much do walk-ins because I think pretty much everybody who need to get a vaccine has gotten it already. So, and plus, I'm not out here hoeing like I used to. Like I've been taking a little breather, but don't get me wrong, I have been hunching quite a bit this year. However, I've been doing other things. I've been busy. I've been working. I've been working on this show. I've been working outside of the show. I've been, doing a lot of stuff. So, I've been kind of busy with that. So the monkeypox situation was not something that was on a top priority. So now that the opportunity has presented itself, I went and I got it. And now I'm going to get the second dose because you have to wait, I think, about 29 days. I'm going to get the second dose on Halloween. Actually, I'm eligible to get it around Halloween. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to go in on the 31st. I'm the next day, the next time I'm due to get a shot is around Halloween. And they shoot you in the back of the arm, like it still hurts, actually, like right around here. They put the injection. I didn't even feel it. Like when they put the needle in, shot it, I didn't feel it at all. I felt it when I got the COVID vaccine, the Madonna. I felt that, but I didn't feel everything else. But so yeah, that's basically what I was doing this week. It was like a lot of busyness, and all that good stuff. Okay, so without further ado, since I let y'all know what I've been up to, let's get into these topics. Okay, shall we? Can we take this Chris Avalon logo out? Because it is cutting off my face. It's too many, logos and things going on right now. Okay, so let's get into this Rihanna situation. So, as y'all may have heard, Bad Gal Riri has been selected, or she basically said that she's going to be, headlining the Super Bowl. Which, when I heard about it, I was shocked because I didn't think we were going to get any music from Rihanna. I was basically thinking that she just wanted to sit and be a mother. Like, she's paid her dues. She's given us a bunch of records. I know we've been waiting for the follow-up for Auntie for a gazillion years. I don't know when that album came out. I'm not even going to sit up here and do the math, nor do I care enough to even try to do the math on when Auntie came out. Y'all could Google, schmoogle, or do whatever you like. But for me, Auntie, I did love that album. It's particularly acclaimed. I think it was one of the albums where she really pushed the envelope in regards to showing her artistic integrity. But I know, like, she's been busy doing other things. Like, she's made so much money being a beauty mogul. She doesn't even really need to come back to music, quite frankly. Like, in my opinion, I would love for Rihanna to put out some music, but for the most part, if she doesn't want to, that's okay. But I'm thinking if she is doing, I knew somebody was going to do the math. Hey, Robert. He said 2016 is when Auntie came out. So that's what, like 6 years ago, almost 7 years. But anyway, so of course, when we first found out about the whole Super Bowl situation, what had happened was people assumed that, is it possible that we'll be getting a new album? And I was like, possibly. I have seen photos of her coming in and out of the studio in the past couple of weeks, so she probably is putting the finishing touches on the new album. I have a strong feeling that we will be getting a new album by the time the Super Bowl comes around, because the Super Bowl is not until February. We're in October. It's Halloween, my favorite month, Halloween, but besides my birthday. Halloween is like one of my favorite times of the year. Like, I watch scary movies all year round. And all that good stuff. So when it comes down to it, I'm really excited for what the new album's gonna sound like. I don't even know what's gonna sound at this point. I've been hearing so many rumors about reggae and this and the third, so we'll see. But nevertheless, basically what they're saying is that they're calling her a hypocrite because she's doing the Super Bowl. Because apparently, a couple of years ago, she said, back when Colin Kaepernick was pretty much blackballed from the music industry, from the NFL, and for taking a knee and this and the third, she said she was never going to come back and do music, and she was never going to participate in the Super Bowl halftime, that sort of thing. But now, years later, she's changed her tune. And I'm gonna give you my opinion on it in a second. And I feel like, with age comes maturity, and she probably changed her mind. Besides, didn't Colin take a pay out? Didn't they pay him out? And he got to try out again in the NFL, but it didn't work out. But I'm sure he was given a settlement with what had happened. So if you can take money from the NFL after you took that knee and this, that, and the third, I don't see why it's a big issue with her basically saying, I'm going to do the Super Bowl. And besides that, Jay-Z is a part of the whole musical, with Rock Nation and putting the music and everything together. She's close with Jay-Z. I think she trusts him because he's basically helped usher her career where it is, even though we already know in the past she was not at the top of the list in regards of musicians who they thought would succeed. They had Tierra Marie and all them girls who they thought, oh, she gonna be the next big thing. Child, she's still trying to pay 50 Cent petty ass that fucking money. But that's a whole nother story. But in regards of Rihanna, I don't have a problem with her with this. So they're saying that while the Navy is rejoicing and hoping this meant an album was coming, some were given Reed the side eye. She was deemed a hypocrite on social media because a few years ago she rejected a halftime show offer to stand in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. Now, they said that they wanted her to be they wanted her to perform at the Super Bowl in Atlanta back in 2019. Who performed in 2019? I don't even remember. But she basically confirmed that she would be performing in a recent interview with Vogue and said, I couldn't dare do that. For what? Who gains from that? Not my people. I just couldn't be a sellout. I couldn't be an enabler. There's things within the organization that I do not agree with at all, and I was not about to go and be of service to them in any way. And this was from back when she said she wasn't going to do it. He hasn't played since 2017, and I do believe that he has been, he has, like I said, I believe he took a settlement. So basically, one person, Broken Tradition, wrote on Twitter, is Rihanna a sellout, a hypocrite for performing at the Super Bowl? Then another person wrote, I'm sure Rihanna, Jay-Z, whoever else Black does / will do the SB is aware y'all are gonna call them a hypocrite. They don't care. No one is standing behind Kaepernick and his weird half-ass boycott anymore. Him actively trying to return to that league canceled all that out. So, and that's from Virtuoso's Groove. Now, do I agree with that? It's like, look, if you're trying to get back to the, child. I think, did Adam Levine perform that year? First of all, I don't even know who thought Adam Levine was interesting enough, and that band thought they were interesting enough to even perform at the Super Bowl. Like, y'all got some cute bops, but that ain't stadium-worthy music, in my opinion. So, with that being said, I'm behind Rihanna. If she wants to come back and do music, y'all can call her sellout all y'all want, but I guarantee you, y'all gonna be there watching it, and I guarantee you're gonna buy that new album when it comes out. So I can't stand behind y'all half-ass motherfuckers when it comes to the shit y'all want to protest. But then look the other way when it comes to other things. So I'm okay with her wanting to come back. First of all, I only watched the NFL, the Super Bowl for the damn halftime anyway. I could care less who wins. I mean, you got fucking Tom Brady, who refuses to fucking retire and raise them goddamn kids with that Brazilian he done cheated with, because remember, he was, until he does right, I don't know if he ever did right by Bridget Moynahan, cheating on her with Giselle Butt Cheek, as I call her. And now the bitch mad because her husband don't want to stay home with her and raise them damn kids. You promised you was going to give it up the football. But that 45-year-old heifer refuses to sit at home and deal with you and them damn kids? He'd rather run back and forth and smack motherfuckers on the ass in the damn locker room than be around y'all. And that says a lot. So good luck to you, Rihanna. I'm looking forward to hearing this new album. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to bring to the Super Bowl. I mean, quiet as it's kept. There's been people I've been talking to about this situation, and they don't believe in you, girl. They don't think that you got what it takes to kind of come out and really show out on a stage, because let's be clear, while Rihanna does have some great bops you can listen to in your headphones, a lot of times when it comes to her live performance and her live singing, she don't be bringing what needs to be given. She doesn't give what needs to be given. She really doesn't. Like, she's a cute girl to look at. She's a fashion girl. She, really goes all out of way with her videos, and she has that energy and that presence and that personality. But given it on stage, we definitely gonna have to work it on out, because in this day and age, these kids be ready to drag you if you slightly fuck up. So good luck to you, girl. You can read the rest of the article on my website if y'all want to get around to doing that. It did get a lot of traction. Okay, so let's talk about Jeffrey Dahmer. So I have to tell y'all, last week I gave a quick review. I hadn't let it the show fully marinate in my brain. When I was talking about it at first, I may have changed my mind on a couple of things. Hold on, because I did take notes. Because, child, this week, I have to tell y'all, I went down a Jeffrey Dahmer rabbit hole. That doesn't mean that I'm becoming crazy, that I need medication, that I need to go to a doctor, a therapist. I don't need any Xanax. Like, I'm fine. You don't have to take my brain and study it like Jeffrey's mother did, when he died, when he was murdered in prison. But I decided to go down this rabbit hole because I started hearing stories of how they changed some things for for like artistic effect. And they did change some things for artistic effect. And I think the reason why a lot of people tune into the Jeffrey Dahmer thing is because of Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy is someone who's behind the entire series. I did hear that the upcoming, I don't know, he's got an obsession with serial killers, I've noticed, because he's incorporated real life serial killers throughout his American Horror Story series. I did hear the upcoming season, which is called is American Horror Story New York City. I did hear that with that is going to be about a serial killer in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, stalking a group of LGBT people. So there's gonna be some queer people getting murdered, and I love it. I'm all for a gay slasher film, but it's got to be able to work. And quiet as it's kept, a lot of times when it comes to Ryan Murphy's work, it starts out great in the beginning, and then it's like, okay, where are we going with this? So anyway, the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing, I saw like people were getting upset, talking about let's boycott it, including Boosie. Who listening to that ignorant heifer? Number one, I guarantee you he did not see this. I'm sure he didn't see it, but I saw him on like, y'all got to boycott this shit. Boycott this shit. It's nasty. It's this. It's that. You know how he talk. He's talking like he literally just grew up in like the backwoods of some swamp and didn't make it past like the 9th grade. Like he literally gives that energy whenever he opens his mouth. So anybody listening to Miss Boosie about anything, because this ninja is retarded, in my opinion. I was trying not to say that word. It just slipped out. My bad. But you know what I mean. He the all word. So anyway, this whole Jeffrey Dahmer situation, I know a lot of people were upset about the whole thing, including, first of all, they tried to come at, y'all were just nitpicking it. Y'all must have been bored. I know they were talking about boycott. I've seen quite a few people say boycott it, but I think it's too late. It's one of the highest rated series that ever premiered on Netflix. So boycott what? Like the world has seen it. I know a lot of people saying that the family should have been compensated financially. There have been a gazillion Jeffrey Dahmer movies, documentaries, you name it, they exist. There's a documentary I told y'all coming out this month on Netflix about Jeffrey Dahmer and a woman who went to his cell to interview him, and I think it's called the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes. So there's more coming. I know we're talking about re-traumatizing people, this, that, and the other, but how do you know, how are we going to blame art and television and films of traumatizing people when people who are affected by a serial killer are living through these things every day? How do we know like they haven't been seeking therapy for whatever's happening with them in their life, or what happened with them and what happened to their significant other was murdered? I know not all the people that Jeffrey Dahmer killed was gay, because he lured in people who were financially down on their luck and needed like money or whatever the case was. So there was other ways he was getting around getting those people in. But I did see a story, and I was compelled to write it because Robert sent it to me. And I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. I didn't even know that it was affiliated. Okay, so to set the whole thing up, apparently people were upset because they put the Jeffrey Dahmer, Monster Jeffrey, whatever the fuck it's called. We are just call it Jeffrey Dahmer. I ain't got time to call that stupid Lifetime Movie of the Week title that y'all gave it, because the title of the show is stupid, number one. You could just call it the Jeffrey Dahmer story or whatever. Or just Monster, whatever. But anyway, so apparently people are upset because Jeffrey Dahmer was put in the LGBTQ category. So like when you look up the type of shows you want to see, like action, horror, that sort of thing, it's an LGBTQ section. And people are upset about it. And to that, I have to say, y'all are fucking stupid. Number one, Jeffrey Dahmer was a gay man who killed other gay men. It's an LGBTQ story. And what people in our community, I'm sick and tired of this shit, because you know what, I feel like people in marginalized communities want to do that. They always want to sweep something under the rug, or they don't want our stuff to be exposed. We can't always expect the LGBTQ community to be full of lollipops and rainbows, because it's not true. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in our community that we personally need to deal with. Like, for one, the racism that goes on within our community amongst, the colorism, transphobia that happens with queer people. Gay people are nasty towards trans women too, not just straight people. So we could go down a laundry list of problematic shit that goes on in our community, but I ain't gonna be here all night doing that. What I want to do is focus on this, and this means basically what we need to do is focus on the fact that it is a part of our history. It is a part of queer history. I know a lot of people are saying this show should have never been made. I agree that it should be made, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because, like I stated last week, I was surprised by the amount of people who had no idea of this story of Jeffrey Dahmer and eating and killing his victims and eating them and this, that, and the third. And we definitely need to have this conversation, because Gen Z and the millennials, I should put them in there too, are talking about, oh, we don't need this. This is before my time. I don't need to know about this stuff. This was not necessary. They didn't need to make this. I saw the King of Reed's fat ass up in there talking about how this was not needed. Girl, half the time, let me not go there. Let me not read no other bloggers. Focus on this show. Because people be on their blogs talking about a bunch of stuff. They ain't even see a damn show. But y'all got a lot to say. But anyway. So, what's the conversation that what the conversation about this is a conversation that definitely needs to happen, because a lot of times, like I stated before, people had no idea about this story. I even watched the old Oprah interview that she did with Jeffrey Dahmer's father. How he talked about how he had no idea what his son was. Like, his son was killing animals and shit when he was 4 years old, roadkill up under the house, riding around the neighborhood, picking up dead, animals, like roadkill and dead animals and this and the other, and cutting them up and doing all kinds of surgery and stuff on him, and told the father numerous times there was something wrong with him, that he felt like there was something wrong with him. And the father just refused to acknowledge it. He ignored it. He was gone half the time. The mother was popping pills and on all kinds of medications. They even said, I remember hearing the story that the father said he had thoughts similar to Jeffrey. So is it hereditary? I'm sure, I would not be surprised if Gen Z would try to erase HIV and AIDS because it's no longer relevant. I mean, people still getting it. So the funny thing I had heard about this, so yes, I do believe it's stupid. It's really, first of all, I didn't even notice that Jeffrey Dahmer was put under the whole LGBTQ category. No idea. I wasn't paying attention to that. All I saw was it was up there on my TV. I was like, let me watch it. Let me get, well-versed on it, because I wasn't aware. And I know that they changed certain things and people were upset, especially a woman by the name of Ann Schwartz, because I got notes, who said she was the first to cover the story in 91 and says Netflix got a lot wrong. But Netflix, when Ryan Murphy and them put all this together, they basically stated that this was all for dramatic effect. So they exaggerated some things. They combined some things. A lot of people had no idea that Glenda Cleveland, who was played by Niecy Nash, they had her as his next door neighbor. She didn't live next door. She lived across the street. So the Glenda Cleveland character was a combination. She was a woman combined with the woman across the street who was calling the police, especially with the whole situation what happened with Lil Conorak, and the neighbor that lived across the hall. Also, the Tony story, the guy who was deaf, Dahmer knew him for a whole year before he killed him. So they were friends. They said he stalked him a little bit, like always followed him around and said and a third. So that story was not entirely accurate, but I like what they did with them. Also, Rita Isbell, the whole reenactment. They had an actress literally up there reenacting the exact body language, the tone, all that verbatim. Then there was like the scene, with the sandwich and that he did with Glenda. He fed meat, the meat of his victims to his neighbors. So he was giving them, like, cooking food and giving it to the neighbors he did. What I had no idea of, because they showed the scene where he worked in the chocolate shop, the candy shop or whatever, and he was like working and stirring the chocolate. That was like around the time when he had molested Conrac's brother and he got arrested. He was crushing up, remember the scene that they showed him crushing up bone fragments? Child, what he was doing was basically taking the bone fragments and sprinkling it in the damn chocolate. Some motherfuckers who was getting Hershey bars, y'all was eating more than Hershey. So the man was crazy. And like I said, what's that? Ryan Murphy has for years done things where he's incorporated real life serial killers in his work for, dramatize them, which I've always kind of felt weird about and uncomfortable, because like he had Richard Ramirez on an episode of American Horror Story. You remember the one that they did when it was kind of like the Friday the 13th ripoff, where they had them at the cabin and the slasher and what was her name? They had everybody. Gus Kenworthy was in the episode. They had oh my God, what's her name that's on Broadway right now? Oh my God, Angelica Ross. They had her on there. It was a lot. So that season, they had an actor playing Richard Ramirez. And I'm like, I always find it weird when y'all try to bring real life serial killers into a fictional series. I mean, even though I know like this is based on a true event, I just didn't like this idea. And my question is this, to wrap it. Oh, and then I forgot to mention Tracy Edwards. Remember the guy who survived, the one that got away and pretty much just went and got the cops, and that's when they found, all the other stuff that they found in the house and the body and the smell and all the stuff, and the cops finally arrested him. His name was Tracy Edwards, and I should also say that he didn't really do so well after the whole situation. He was in and out of prison. He spent 10 years in jail for pushing another homeless man off a bridge, because Tracy was at one point homeless. He was, he resorted to drugs, and then just goes to show that, what we need to focus on is the trauma of when you deal with being attacked or, those things, that PTSD that comes with that. And one of the things I loved about, like, for example, Halloween, this franchise, although it's been a little hit and miss with me with that franchise, the recent ones, what I love is that how they explore trauma. How do you deal in life after you've survived a serial killer? The survivor's guilt, all of those things. So these are things that we need to come into mind. So while a lot of people talk about boycott this and boycott that, I think what you need to do is, if you want to watch it, watch it. If you don't, you don't. But go in with an open mind and basically, in my opinion, just think about how, all those victims and the people that the families and how they've had to deal and cope with a lot of those traumas. I know a lot of people said they should be financially compensated. So every time I make something about a serial killer, you should be financially compensated. I don't agree with that. It's public knowledge. It's similar to like, the OJ trial and this, that, and the third. Like, they can constantly make that stuff over and over. Does that mean that OJ should be cut a check? Or the Goldmans should be cut a check? Or the Simpsons? No. This is public record. These are open, like, court cases that have been tried and, that sort of thing. Those stories can be consistently told. But if you want real life assessments of stuff, watch documentaries. Don't look to a scripted biopic or whatever to get the true story. It's kind of like what I said about, what the hell is that movie? The movie about Freddie Mercury. Hated it. Bohemian Rhapsody. Specifically because, the music was great and Rami Malek looked amazing. I didn't like the movie because y'all tried to erase the man's homosexuality from the film. And we doing this in this day and age? So how you got this man mostly with a woman in the damn movie? The only time you show him with another man is, okay, towards the end when he's dying of AIDS and when he goes into a bathroom on the cruise. I was just like, okay, I see what y'all doing. And I see why the movie made $100 million. Because y'all Disney-fied his life for an Oscar. To be an Oscar contender. It's not even a word. But anyway. Oh. So this is the point I want to get to, and then we can move on. Because I don't want to spend too much time on this. Like, this is just a little too dark to be trying to gravitate on and this, that, the other. But I should point out, yes, I do believe that this is something that happens because you know what? The gays, y'all like to cruise and y'all like to go and meet with people, and we go when we've done dangerous things. I've done it too. There was a time where I met up with somebody I met online, and I went into an apartment and it was dark. They wanted me to put my clothes in a garbage bag, and I'm like, wait a minute now. What is happening? And I'm sitting here doing this, and something in my spirit was like, something is not right. Something is not right. And it was another person. It was just weird from the get-go. I don't know how I got out that fucking apartment, but I did. I was like, never again. I need to be a little more. You have to be really careful out here when it comes to these type of situations. We all tend to put ourselves in dangerous situations. I don't take drinks from people when I go out to bars and clubs. I'm always with friends of mine. If I do go out and I do hook up, I definitely always text and let people know the address or where I'm going. And saying, I'm not like these old nasty hoes who are like, oh, let's go hunch in a parking lot or in the woods. I like life. I ain't trying to be found, dismembered in no bushes. So yeah, be careful out there. And then there was a recent story that just came out that I saw earlier this week. A man in Louisiana by the name of Chance Seneca used Grindr to target gay and bisexual men in order to dismember them and use their body parts for disturbing purposes. So he's in jail. And yes, this is still going on. So while y'all out here sitting there thinking about, oh, well, does this story need to be told? Yes, it does, because it's still happening in more ways than one. And yes, the incompetence of the police, I love how this film touched on that. But has the police changed in regards of how they look down upon queer people, people of color, when it comes to abuse and domestic violence? I don't think so. I don't think it's changed all that much. I don't even think it's changed all that much within the gay community. Like, you have problems where, assaults go underreported. Not just Black women getting assault that goes underreported. Assaults with queer people as well. If you're in domestic relationships or, you're hooking up with somebody and they're abusive or they're cutting you up, like, the police ain't trying to deal with that because they can't deal with their own ignorance and biases. Excuse me. You would think that the police department learned some kind of media training. So I do like true crime stuff because it's the social, the criminal justice side of me. Where I went to college, that was a course I had to take criminal justice. And I was fascinated a lot with it. So I got into a lot of true crime cases and counterterrorism and all those other things and politics. Like, those are things that have relatively interested me. So yeah, definitely be safe out here, y'all. And Jeffrey Dahmer, may you rot in hell, child. Okay, so let's move on. What's the next story? I believe it is it Sherri Shepherd and them? I believe it is. Hold on. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's talk about the ratings. Okay, so the ratings are finally in. I know we talked a little bit about Sherri Shepherd and Jennifer Hudson and all those other shows last week. And the ratings are in, y'all. So, according to Next TV, Jennifer Hudson and Sherri, syndications to major new talk entries, made their debuts on Monday, September 12th, and tied at a 0.7 Live Plus same-day national household rating, according to Nielsen. Both shows air on Fox-owned stations in major markets. Now, Warner Brothers' Jennifer Hudson took overtime periods formerly occupied by Debra Mercury's canceled Nick Cannon in many Fox-owned markets and outperformed that show's 0.4 debut by 75%. Well, that's because Nick Cannon's not that entertaining as a daytime talk show host. When it comes to celebrity news, interviews, all that gossip stuff, y'all need a gay man to do that, not someone who just basically has enough kids to fill up his entire studio audience. Because y'all know he on baby number 10. Debra Mercury's Sherri, hosted by Sherri Shepherd, debuted 13% below the show it replaced. Debra Mercury's Wendy Williams, which opened last year at a 0.8. Last year at this time, the season premiere of the Wendy Williams show was continually delayed with the host out on medical leave. Williams never returned, leading a year of guest hosts, including Shepherd, and then to Wendy Williams' ultimate cancellation, as y'all know. Now, excuse me, NBC Universal's Karamo, which stars Karamo Brown, and replacing NBCU's long-running Maury Povich show on many stations across the country, debuted September 9th and tallied at a 0.3 rating, one share primarily run weight metered market average. Now, the show's best performance came on WJW Cleveland at 1 p.m. at a 0.9 rating, 5 share, and 80% improvement over the show it replaced, which is basically The Real. Okay. I should also point out that, I don't know why people still watching this show, but I don't make the news, I just report it. So Disney's Live with Kelly and Ryan broke the 3-week tie with CBS Media Ventures' Dr. Phil to take Top Talk honors, even though Live dipped 70% to a 1.4. Now, Live has now led the category for 17 straight weeks, including 8 ties with Dr. Phil and 55 times in the past 70 weeks, including 19 ties with Dr. Phil. So they're saying that the demographic being women 25 to 54, Live and Phil tied at 0.5, coming in at a 0.3 in the demo, where J. Hud and Sherri, as well as Disney's Tamron Hall, NBCU's Kelly Clarkson, CBS's Drew Barrymore, and CBS's Rachel Ray. This basically just lets me know that daytime TV is dry as fuck, and this is what y'all watch while I'm at work. So, I guess congratulations. They said Sherri Shepherd's show is not doing as well in Wendy Williams' time slot. It fell, 17%? She has time to improve, but I don't know. I told y'all I stopped watching Sherri after the first week. Maybe now, because it's doing okay in its time slot, I'll give it a chance. I'll try to jump in and give the show a chance again. I don't want to count her out completely, because a lot of people are so quick to her out when she first came out, but she's not really pulling me. I'm just not feeling the Sherri Shepherd show. And Jenna Hudson, she's cute or whatever, but it's not enough for me to sit and watch her. Tamron Hall, she's not enough to sit and have me watch her either. Like, don't get me wrong, I do love some of the segments that she does, and one of them we're gonna be talking about when we bring up Kim Burrell, wide back ass, Miss Glasses, aka Miss Cobblepot, because she gives me Oswald Cobblepot tease with her fat ass being on TV and no neck. But we're gonna talk about that bitch in a couple of minutes. Now, in regards to these talk shows or whatever, it's cute or whatever. I'm glad that we got a lot more black people than usual in daytime TV. I'm glad we got Jennifer Hudson, out here doing what she's doing. I'm glad that we got Sherri with her opportunity. Karamo definitely has the gift of gab, and I'm glad he's doing what he's doing with his show. But these shows don't stand out to me as something I care about. Maybe because the daytime TV market is just not as compelling as it was when I was growing up. Like, when I was growing up, we had Maury. Well, Maury been on for 100,000 years. Him, we had Jerry Springer. We had Sally Jessica Raphael. We had Ricky Lake. Ricky Lake was my shit. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing with Miss Lake. That was like run home from school TV. And I did every day, because she came on at 5 o'clock on Channel 9. I remember like it was yesterday. So Ricky Lake was my show. Jenny Jones. So, that shit happened with the gay man and who ended up getting murdered. That's a whole other topic. That talk about true crime. Now, that's something that needs to be studied for the books. So we have that. Geraldo. I told you I went on the Geraldo show back in the day. But anyway, so congratulations to you, girls. And we'll see how the ratings fare, a couple more weeks from now once that 6-week mark comes around. Hopefully y'all survive the chop. Nick Cannon didn't. So yeah, let's talk about Kim Burrell Cobblepot. So the singer who once upon a time was adored by many singers in the gospel world, including Whitney Houston, Beyonce, the Clark sisters, and Missy Elliott, appeared on Tamron Hall this week to clear some things in regards to her reputation. And child, let me tell you, it didn't go as planned. Now, during the visit to Tamron Hall on Thursday, Burrell, she 50? That ain't 50. Ma'am, that is not 50. Girl. See, this what happens when you do God don't like ugly. Cause look at that Kim Burrell, clear definition that black do crack. Okay. Anyway, now during the visit, Burrell addressed the 2016 sermon when she made comments about the perverted homosexual spirit, taking Adams to task for calling her out publicly, as in Yolanda Adams. Calling her out publicly and inadvertently adding fuel to the fire of those wishing to cancel the wide-back vocalist, saying, we got clips of the Tamron Hall situation, right? Yeah, let's roll that clip so y'all can get in the context with
why people don't go to church. There was no Jesus in this. How are you going to preach the word and put people down at the same time? That's not righteous. How do you feel now?
How do I feel now?
Today.
I feel great because my intent.
Oh, I thought we was gonna play the whole thing. But what else did she say? Oh, so so when she said, what was all of that? She was basically saying, I was disappointed because we've all shared the same stage, back rooms, and green rooms, and some of the public display and conversation is somewhat opposite of what is behind the stage. I would have much preferred, especially dealing with gospel Yolanda Adams, we're both from Houston, Texas, to pick up the cell phone and say, hey, I have a career to save, and I can't agree with your stance right now. I need to say something different to my public. I would have preferred that. She also said she wasn't given a fair chance to explain her perspective, adding that no one has ever interviewed me about what it is I'm offended by and why should it be. Well, honey, this is not a place for you to stand in your pulpit and condemn people you don't like. That's not what the Tamron Hall show is for. You're there to do an interview, but I guess she don't know what that's like because the bitch probably never been interviewed outside of a church or ever had a conversation with people outside of the church. So Tamron did bring up some questions in regards of people, this is, her attitude and that overall stance of her where she looks down on people. And we know plenty of people, if you ever been to a black church or church in general, how they do that. The black church especially is rooted in ignorance and taking advantage of, the poor as they try to hold out, collect them tithes. So to me, Kim Burrell's always been someone who has been very much judgmental, has a nasty, evil, deep-rooted spirit, nasty attitude. Like basically the outside of how she looked reflect her insides. A mess. And to me, I feel like you going on Tamron Hall show, it didn't help you much. She went on there and was trying to throw Yolanda Adams on the bus, and Tamron was like, oh no, bitch. Here's what you're not gonna do. She gave that in that episode. You're not gonna come up on here and talk about my friend, especially since we both from Texas. And my thing is, I don't have to call, bitch, who you think you is, Khalees? To Beyonce? I ought to call you and let you know that you don't like, that I don't agree with your stance. Maybe Yolanda is not a homophobe. Maybe Yolanda doesn't agree or believe in the ignorant stances that you believe in. See, I lost respect for Kim Burrell in that episode. Remember that episode of that show that she did on BET? When her and that other queen, so you don't like gays, but you besties with Donnie McClurkin? Okay, sis. When them two heifers sat there while that man was singing, and them two was cackling and kikiing and being a whole hot, disrespectful mess while he was singing. He had to read the both of them, particularly Glasses. That's who he had to read, Miss Cobblepot. And she don't, what irked my spirit, and this is what narcissists do, they refuse to take responsibility for their actions. They refuse to take responsibility for the things that they say and take accountability for their behavior. And I feel like, you know what? They're going to continue to cancel you. So when she made that homophobic sermon and this, that, and the other, it was about, first of all, you're not even a pastor. Isn't your job to sing? Sing, Shug, sing. Why you up here trying to jump in and try to act like all of a sudden she passed the copper pot? So the truth hurts heifer. And from what I heard is that she lost her radio show at the time of the sermon. I believe at the time she was supposed to appear on the Ellen show. Excuse me. And she was supposed to go on the Ellen show. And I believe she got wind of the whole thing about the homophobia and all the other stuff, that sermon. And Ellen was like, oh no, the bitch is canceled. She ain't coming on here. She even threw her friend Jamie Foxx under the bus, which makes us think like we gotta give that old queen a side eye. She said he came to her defense by reaching out to DeGeneres on her behalf. Talking, no one has reported that my friend Jamie Foxx felt the need to call Ellen and say, you got this one wrong. She has been more to our community than what the world is willing to see, and we don't think that the extreme of canceling her from a show was a proper response compared to what she's done for our what community? Jamie, you LGBT? You LGBT girl? Because you said our community, or you talking about the black community? Because what has she done for our community? Like, she was just talking about poor people and that old, remember that old story that came out? I reported that a while ago. I don't want to go into it. But anyway, Kim, you trash. I don't want to sit and spend too much energy and time on this heifer. Good luck trying to get back into the graces of the people, but I believe like people have caught wind of your game. They know what you're all about. They know you're full of shit. They know you're not a good human being. And yes, people like Kim Burrell and that attitude is the main reason why a lot of people don't go to church, because people don't want to go to church and be judged. People go there to find, enlightenment. They want to feel they're going on a spiritual journey. They want to feel close to God. But like my mama said to me, you don't need to go to a church to get right with, a higher being. You could do that anywhere you go. So, well, quiet as it's kept, I haven't stepped foot in a church since my parents me. And that was a while ago. So, and that was only because they got remarried. So that was the last time I stepped foot in a damn church. And that'll probably be the last time I step foot in a damn church unless somebody I know plan on getting married or I'm going to a funeral. Not even a funeral, a funeral. Anyway, so let's take ourselves a little short breaky break because we're 49 minutes in. When we come back, we're going to talk about Carisha, messy ghetto ass, talking about that she wants to be the next Black Oprah. Oprah not black? I guess according to her, this fool, she's not. Plus, I want to talk about the baby claiming that he's been blackballed by the music industry, and you got dumbasses like Boosie and Meek Mill coming as his fans. I got time to drag this heifer. Plus, we're going to talk about this new Blade movie because I've been relatively excited about Blade and everything that's been coming up with it, but apparently there's been some trouble behind the scenes. I'm gonna break it all down and I'm gonna go in on the MCU because y'all been a mess with Phase 4. So we got that. Also, the girls is fighting still. I got more on this whole Cardi B and Akbar v, or I should call her ass bar, because she dropped the diss track towards Cardi and it was straight ass. And then I had to add this to the docket because this was breaking news and it came out earlier today. Fraudrick Hall is in the news again, and she has been ordered to pay $100,000 on unpaid back rent to them people that she claimed she owned the house, but Miss Mama's was renting. I got to drag this hoe too. So let's take a break, a little short one, and then we're going to come back with the rest of those topics. So don't go nowhere. Love y'all.
dude that denied his wants for a fat or a film. In town for one night, looking to fill my saline flush chambers with a week's load of freight gravy. Somebody say Jack D. Got mad because I didn't want to party. Party, capital T, lowercase t. They always want to party. Like, bitch. The truck stop is a dangerous place to mind your business. Oh, but my sisters, that 18-wheel beefcake be alright. Ain't it alright? Somebody say alright. Truckers be having nice accommodations for you. Like, if can't nobody host, a trucker gonna host. Peel that little curtain back to separate you from the rest of the world and go to town.
I told you. I'll run from nothing, dog. Get your soldiers. Look, you was never really rooting for me anyway. When I'm back up at the top, I want to hear you say, you don't run from nothing, dog.
Child, what was that? That shit with the vixen was hilarious. Anyway, welcome back, y'all. I'm trying to figure out, did we interview them? Oh no, I'm looking at this picture from Fashion Craze. One of them we did. Oh my god, our guy, I think, is doing that. That was well, look. Okay, so there was a thing I remember that we were talking about with our guy, and he was putting together a fashion show, and then I was talking about, oh yeah, I might want to be in on it, this, that, and the third. So I just saw the image that, well, I saw it earlier, but I didn't pay much attention to it. It looks cute. They definitely bringing the fashions. I mean, I'm here for it. Look, the Black queens want to come out and give fashion reviews. I'll be here for, because I miss Joan Rivers. I really do. I miss Joan Rivers and I miss Fashion Please. That was my show. Between like her getting up there and just reading the celebrities on, the clothes and this, that, and the other. I just miss, excuse me, that energy. I just miss that part of, when that was back when E was good. I never kept up with the Kardashians, but that was when E was good. I like them. I like Talk Soup was my show. Chelsea Lately. But I think now they're trying to get back to that old regard now that the Armenian hoes have gravitated themselves, have slithered their way over to Hulu with their fake storylines. Because I'd be damned if I'm going to sit up in here and believe that Chloe had mental issues due to what happened with her and Tristan. Girl, you been had mental issues. Your brain probably cottage cheese dealing with it, enduring all the foolishness you had to do with that family. But anyway, let's not talk about them witches. Let's talk about Young Miami, aka Carisha. So the City Girls rapper found herself in hot water after making a comment that rubbed some the wrong way. Now, during a recent interview, the City Girls rapper Carisha, aka Young Miami, says she aspires to become the next Black Oprah. Now, the problem is we already got a Black Oprah because Oprah is Black. Last time I checked. So, of course, the interview went viral. People dragged her for days. Well, not days, but for hours. I'm just being melodramatic. So Miami said, I want to take it to the next level. She shared, referring to the success of her podcast, Carisha, please. I was trying to say it like Mommy did. Barbara, please. Carisha, please. I'm dreaming big. I want to go to the highest of the highest. I want to be the Black Oprah. Child, you should have said, I want to be this generation's Oprah. I want to be, a millennial Oprah, whatever. Now, that would have been more believable than you saying you want to be the Black Oprah, but I believe she misspoke. That's what this is the case. It's a case of she misspoke. Sometimes we do say things and we flub and it don't make sense. But of course, once it's been recorded, it's out there. And I don't think Carisha is that intelligent where she would have corrected the reporter or been corrected during the interview. And she said people just loving the. I thought people just love, but the way up. Let me just not. People just loving to hear me talk. I'm reading how she said it. Whenever I talk, whenever I go on Instagram live, it go viral. She said, well, explaining how Carisha Please came together. One day I was talking to Diddy and he was like, yeah, you should do a podcast. It would be good for you. And that's how it came about. It was just a conversation of me just always going viral off the way I talk and the engagement I get. I used to get off of Instagram Live. Now, social media had a field day with her. Basically saying Oprah is already black, baby, and basically had a lot of the Real Housewives of Atlanta on a bus looking at her like she done lost her mind. And then want to be the black Oprah, Carisha Please. And they got a emoji of, a meme of Miss Nene Leakes. But like I said, I feel like she just made it was a little boo-boo. She just made a mistake. Now, do I see her as the next Oprah? Oprah is Oprah. Nobody can touch Oprah in regards of what she has done in regards of, talk and entertainment and, the gift of gab. Oprah is a one-of-a-kind person in our community, particularly when it comes to, the whole world of talking, of being a host, and being an interviewer. Carisha has her own style of interviewing. I do enjoy when she's interviewed a couple of people on her podcast, Carisha Please. I've watched it on YouTube. I loved her interview that she did with Megan Thee Stallion. So, and I think she recently did an interview with Lotto. So, I do believe that unlike Oprah and unlike Wendy Williams, Carisha can tap into a market that an Oprah could not even tap into. So there's a market for everybody. Carisha is ratchet in a good way. I know a lot of people try to look at that as a negative, but she can tap into a community that nobody else can talk to or get into. So I definitely see her, in addition to the music, that she wants to get into podcasting and being a media person. I said Nicki Minaj should have did that, but Nicki be so busy trying to fight with every damn body and proving she the queen. I'm the queen. But Miss Mamas, why wasn't you at the BET? The BET Hip Hop Awards. They shot that yesterday. Little Kim was there looking fabulous. I live for that body outfit she had on. And I believe Remy Ma was there. By the way, I have a story on the website about Remy Ma was approached to be on the Real Housewives of New York. But they turned her down because she lives in New Jersey. Now, I didn't know that Bravo was all about trying to make sure that they could have, that you had to be accurate when it came to geography. Because last time I checked, there's been a lot of people that don't live where they're supposed to be living or live where they say they live, and they still shoot. So y'all could have made an exception. She could have drove across the bridge to meet the women out for brunch or something, or go into an event. And quiet as it's kept, we don't really spend a lot of time in the houses of the housewives. It's only momentarily. What we mostly look forward to with the housewives is whenever they go out to an event or they go out to eat, because they all go out for gatherings that, like, when they go out to dinner, they have restaurants, they're going to meet up to somewhere to talk about celebrity. Like, we see, that's what they normally do. We're not spending time in their homes. It's not a home decor show. It's not on HGTV. It's Bravo. But anyway, just read that article when you go on there. They said Olivia Bourne ass was approached too. I don't believe that. For Dubai. But anyway, I definitely see it with Carisha. So good luck to you, girl. I like what she does. Like I said, I like what she does with her show. So I don't see it as like a big deal if she calls herself like she wants to be the next Oprah. I did think the memes was hilarious. And I know y'all saw that picture in the beginning where I basically just, where someone went, I don't know who it was, but kudos to you for the genius behind it, where they put Carisha's face on Oprah's head and her body. So that was hilarious. So let's talk about DaBaby, because his album flopped. His latest album, I believe, I don't know how much it sold, but I'll see if in the article it says that. But after receiving low sales on his latest album, DaBaby is claiming the industry is blackballing him, to which prompted internet loudmouth Boosie, Badazz, and rapper Meek Mill to assert themselves into the conversation. Now, the baby initially made the claim when responding to the low sales of his latest album, Baby on Baby 2. That's what you named your damn album. I can see why it flopped. Well, basically, it sold 16,000 units in its first week. Not bad for the Blackball baby, the MC wrote on his IG story. Meek then weighed in on the situation, taking to Twitter and saying this: "They blatantly blackballing the baby. Not my business, but I'm an observer." Boosie, in the meantime, argued on his own Twitter page, because he ain't got nothing else better to do. He should be worrying about making music. Instead, he out here trying to give Tiffany Haddish a job and telling people to boycott the Jeffrey Dahmer movie. Saying, ain't no way my N-word at the baby. Is that his thing? The baby? Okay. Supposed to sell 16K after selling almost 150K his last first week. He one of the biggest in this ish. I don't know what's going on, but something is that I can't. I'm not reading that foolishness. Now, academics, who already got himself into trouble when he said that dumb shit, and LL Cool J had to drag him without saying his name. He basically had to give him a little education because, you know, the lead member of the Chipmunks always got something to say about something he don't know nothing about. Or it's probably for clicks and likes. Said the baby last project in 2020, Blame It on Baby, sold 124K first week. His new project, after being blackballed by Ebro, Apple Music, is scheduled to do less than 20K. Now y'all understand my Ebro convo. DSPs control who is not and who is hot. Fall out of favor with them, you're done. So apparently academics out here trying to accuse Ebro of blackballing the baby. And here is what I got to say about this. I don't know the amount of power that Ebro has in the industry. I do know Ebro is someone who works at Apple Music. He's also someone who works at Hot 97. I like Ebro. I like a lot of his interviews. He is someone who has been in this industry for a long time. But I don't think that's what blackball, because I think if anything, people could get their hands on the music if they want. The problem is, the baby's music is a piece of shit. His music is trash. He talks about the same things over and over, and you thought you was slick by trying to use Megan Thee Stallion for clout. You thought you could talk about sleeping with Megan Thee Stallion and that was going to get people to buy your music, when in fact, it just highlighted even further that you're the misogynistic prick. The gays dragged your ass from Kingdom Come when you try to throw the gays under the bus with your little comments. I'm not even going to go back into what was said about that. Then you were always out here beating up fans. We seen that. We saw the episode of what's the show on the Zeus Network? Bad Boys LA, where they were filming and you sitting there fighting Danny Lay's brother at the bowling alley. Then you sit out here smacking women, shooting people in a Walmart, claiming self-defense. Like, this boy is like, he and Kim Burrell, two of a kind. Y'all need to do a song together. Because y'all two of the most vile people in this music industry, and y'all two are the main ones that refuse to take responsibility for your actions. And that's what it is. People are tired of the baby's crap. Your antics make more headlines than your music. And people who have real talent don't need to resort to shenanigans and fights and drama to sell music. And so it's the people that's tired of your mess. I read the comments online. You know, when I went on the neighborhood talk and I've gone to all the black blogs, I was reading the comment. People are tired of yo ish. They've been tired of yo shit. That's basically, in the words of Erykah Badu, they're tired of your foolishness. And that's what it is. So Chris Brown out here did all kinds of stuff, still selling music. I think his recent single just went to #1. And y'all talk about he blackballed. How is his music still gone to #1? So take accountability. It's you. It's not the people. It's not Ebro. It's not Apple Music. Aren't there other platforms that people can sell their music on? Whatever, child. I'm talking about this heifer. So let's go on to the next topic. Oh, wait, let me read what Robert Price said. He said, and Harry Styles is the new Prince with that photo of Prince from the rave era. He wishes. Oh, I did forget about that. Yeah, I saw that. We should talk about how Cher's appearance at Beaumont brought Madonna and the whole act your age, and she gracefully. Oh, yeah, there was a whole thing. I did post. I was like, Cher looks great. And you know what? I'm about sick and tired. I saw the comments, like people was commenting on my page, where they were basically saying about, oh, money well spent, plastic surgery. Just said, we know Cher's had plastic surgery. I don't think she's ever denied it. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. I don't remember. But yes, Cher was like, what, 76, 70, mid-70s? She looked great at the Beaumont fashion show when she walked out with Olivier. Fabulous. I was even looking at her. I was like, damn, that ass is on point. What squats is you doing? Or what's the booty exercises you doing? Because Miss Mama's, her butt was right and tight. Now, I don't know what Madonna did to her ass. She should have left it alone. She did have a nice little butt. But I don't know if that's like a butt pad or something, like the butt pad that the guy wore in the episode of Queer as Folk, the first episode, when Michael, the guy followed him home and then he brought him up to the apartment and he started taking out, he took out the dick component that made it look like he had a bulge, and then he took out the fake booty pads. I wonder if that's booty pads or that's real surgery. And she probably went to the Dominican Republic or Brazil or Cuba, some South American country, and they gave you a 2-for-1 special or something. When she went to get the hip surgery, she was just like, oh, by the way, just give me a new ass. I love Madonna, but girl. And the whole actor age thing, like, she's 64. I don't care. Madonna's always been punk rock with what she does and how she is. So fuck the haters. She is what she is. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So let's get into this Blade story, because I gagged when I heard this. Now, I'm wondering, are the cracks finally starting to show in the MCU's Multiverse of Madness? Because with fans divided on the outcome of Phase 4, that would be me, a new report is making the rounds that director Bassam Tariq has parted ways with the upcoming Blade reboot. Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the film was supposed to start shooting in Atlanta in November, but due to countless delays, Tariq has now dropped out, saying the following quote: due to continued shifts in our production schedule, Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade, but will remain an executive producer on the film. Marvel said in a statement to THR, saying we appreciate Bassam's talent and all the work he has done getting Blade to where it is. Tariq did thank Marvel in his own statement by saying, it's been an honor working with the wonderful folks at Marvel. We were able to put together a killer cast and crew, eager to see where the next director takes the film. Now, I should point out that the production schedule, has been shifted numerous times already. I believe that they were supposed to start shooting back in, I remember there was a thing that went out that they were supposed to be filming in New Orleans. I don't know. It might have been real, might have been fake. I don't know. But I remember I first reported on it. I saw that it said it was supposed to start shooting around July in New Orleans. That didn't happen. I believe they started building all the sets. Like, they're literally supposed to start shooting this in November. He also said that the film, from what I heard was that, because industry insider Jeff Snyder spilled this tea. This is how I first found out about it. So a friend of mine sent me this message. This is before I think that all the reporter, the mainstream trades started reporting this story. They basically said that Jeff Snyder, because this was sent to me in, like, I got a message on it sent to me. Jeff Snyder went and reported that the Blade script has undergone countless rewrites, with the latest draft clocking in at 90 pages, which is kind of ridiculous. That's like a first draft. That's not even like, that should even went past, that's too short in my opinion. He also heard that the film features 2 lackluster action sequences, and with the frequent delays, Mahershala Ali, who was supposed to be playing Blade, is becoming very frustrated with the process because he's having to turn down other roles in order to commit to the film's grueling schedule. Now, Bo DeMeo, who has written such programs as Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, The Witcher, and Moon Knight, is the current screenwriter, and Marvel is currently searching for a new director. Now, the movie was supposed to come out in November 2023, November 3rd, 2023. That is the lock date. I don't know if they're going to keep that now, because I do not think that it takes a whole month, that you could take 6 weeks to find a director and bring them in to film. I don't think that's possible. Now, it was different with Fast 10 because they were a weekend and Justin Lin dropped out. And, you know, he's filmed a bunch of the other previous films, but he butted heads with Vin Diesel. Not surprising. Vin Diesel does seem like he's difficult to work with. That's a whole nother conversation. But with that being said, with that film, it took them a couple of days to find a director, which they found Louis Leterrier. He's directed like The Transporter and a couple of other films. So he knows his way around action. I think they had pretty much everything set up, and he just came in and they just needed somebody to just direct everything. But I'm sure they had a lock script, all that stuff, the locations, everything was set to go. They just needed a director to come in, a hired hand. Hopefully the movie comes out great, better than 9, because I hated Fast 9. But this film is different. Y'all don't even have a finished script. We've seen movies go, we've seen movies shoot and they've done countless rewrites, this, that, and the third. The funny thing is, I know a lot of people say that they don't end well, but I believe that in the beginning, there was a time, I forget which film it was, but there was rewrites going on with Tom Cruise in one of the Mission Impossible films. He had brought in Christopher McQuarrie before I think Christopher McQuarrie was brought in as a director and writer of the future ones. You know, when he did, I think he did he's doing 4 of them. He did the previous 2, and he's doing the new one that's coming out in Part 1, Dead Reckoning Part 1 and Part 2, which I believe, I'm not sure if they're finished with Dead Reckoning Part 2 yet. I know they're finished with Part 1. But anyway, he brought Christopher McQuarrie to do like a script cleanup because they were in the midst of filming and there was rewrites happening within it, which can be frustrating, can be crazy. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes, most often it does not. Blade has so much going for it. I know a lot of people thinking that it may not get made. I do think it will get made. First of all, I don't know what's going on with the MCU. I do feel like there's been, with them, I think it has to do with Bob Chapek, the re-strategizing of what's going on with Disney, particularly Disney Plus. They're trying to fit a lot of programming on there, and I think that there's been so many shows that's been happening, and Kevin Feige's been stretched too thin. A couple of movies that has been on there, I have not been feeling a lot of Phase 4. I liked Shang-Chi, and that's about it. Did not like Eternals. I can't remember what other movies. I did like Spider-Man though. Spider-Man, but that was technically half Marvel, half Sony. Probably mostly Marvel, because Sony, y'all been putting out a lot of shit too when it comes to comics. Did not like any of the Venom movies, and I damn sure, and I hated Morbius. Hated that movie. Horrible. Can't believe I went to the movies to see that shit. Can't get 90 minutes of my life back with that. And I wholeheartedly disliked Thor, the new one. Did not like it at all. Did not think the jokes were funny. I think that Kevin Feige should have reined Taika in. He let him off the rails, and when he went off the rails, it was like a girl. A lot of them jokes were not landing. Just the overall tone was all over the place. And I'm hearing this story, so I'm starting to think that the cracks are starting to show in the multiverse of madness over there at the MCU. So hopefully they can get it together. Hopefully they can pull it in. Hopefully they find a director. And look, I've had choices of who I thought that they should pick to be in the film. Look, this movie, they've been trying to develop this shit since 2019 when they introduced Mahershala at Comic-Con. So it's been 3 years. Too long. Anyway, my thoughts would have been Guillermo del Toro because I loved him in Blade 2. Like, he directed Blade 2. That's a lot of people's favorite. The original always be my favorite. Second one was good because it kind of gave more of a comic book vibe to it. And plus, there's a lot of source material that y'all can follow around. It should not be hard for y'all to develop this movie. Chad Stahelski is another choice. You know, he did all the John Wick movies, but I know he's got Highlander in development. I can't wait till that film finally gets off the ground and gets done. I do love the original Highlander. So I am a huge fan of all the John Wick movies. Looking forward to 4 coming out next year. And I said David Leitch, who I actually watched Bullet Train again yesterday. Fell asleep on it because I was exhausted. But my friends of mine watched it and they absolutely loved the film. So David Leitch, I think, is a great director. So like he's directed a bunch of what he did Deadpool 2, he did Bullet Train, he did Atomic Blonde, and he also co-directed the first John Wick. So you need somebody in there who understands how to shoot fights and can really go up and do action. But I think maybe the reason is that they haven't figured out how to make that whole, how do vampires fit in within the MCU? Like, we got to figure out how to make that work. And plus, you know, a lot of people say, oh, but it's PG-13. Just because the movie is PG-13 and rated R doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good. There's a lot of movies that are rated R that's crap. There's a lot of movies that's PG-13 that's not that great. So a rating does not determine whether or not a movie is going to be good. I just hope that they can get it together regardless of the tone, some cool action sequences, and some real scary vampires. That's all I want. So I said it's Morbin time. Anyway, so let's move on. So let's talk about Cardi B and Ass Bar. Because, you know, she released that horrible ass song. So Akbar, aka Nicki Minaj's Pitbull, is still so bothered by getting dragged on social media by Cardi B that the rapper has decided to release a diss track aimed at the WAP MC. Now, the diss track comes after the two got into a lengthy and heated exchange on Twitter. Now, the feud basically started because Kyle over at The Neighborhood Talk went and posted something about how Glorilla's Tomorrow 2 with Cardi. And they said it was like one of the biggest songs to chart this year, whatever the case was. Now, the reality is it was Nicki Minaj's duet, Do We Have a Problem? That song actually did 4 million streams. So it was a mistake on Kyle's part. The Barbs went in on him, and then he realized it was a mistake. And then Akbar decided to assert herself into the conversation by saying, if at chart data ain't say it, we ain't believing the cat. So that's basically what she said. Her tweet, I mean, you know. Then Cardi decided to jump in and said, count all the times chart data posted you. I don't really like the internet games. My DMs is open and also the streets. So they went back and forth. Akbar decided to bring Hennessy into the conversation. She dragged Offset into the conversation. Offset started clapping back at her. Cardi even posted a picture of Akbar's, I think it was a single cover, album cover, of her giving head to some dude. I'm like, this is what we're doing to try to get attention for our music? But apparently she posted that. I was like, ooh, this girl's going in. The Barty Gang even got that account that she was using suspended, Akbar's account. So it was a mess. Nicki even jumped in and started throwing subliminals. I hope I can find it. I just realized I should have had that prepared with my phone. But yeah, so she jumped in and started saying some stuff. So it was just an ongoing back and forth situation. They went on for hours. I was at work when all this drama was going down. I know Nicki was like, oh, still ugly though. And then Cardi clapped back, I think by saying, watching Arms or OK Arms or whatever, basically. And then they posted a picture of, so here it is. Still ugly, by the way. That's what Nicki posted. And then Cardi put Don't Start Arms. And it was basically a picture of all the arm fat on Nicki. So yeah, she was body shaming. But look, this is what the women do. They go back and forth. And then I think what had happened was Kyle from The Neighborhood Talk posted something or another saying that, oh, Nicki in the comments. Like, I guess Nicki was liking certain things that Akbar was saying. Okay. Heard you. Reading something from production. Anyway, so Kyle basically said, oh, Nikki in the comments, Nikki got mad, and then he posted some tweets that she said she got mad at him talking about, oh, well, you only gonna post the negative stuff, but you're not gonna post the positive stuff, and why you jumping in this situation? Especially, she made accusations saying that while certain rappers went and got you fired from the Shade Room. Now, Kyle used to work at the Shade Room and then was fired and then went and started the Neighborhood Talk. So the tea is that Cardi allegedly wound up getting Kyle fired from there, and Nikki was implying that when you was left for dead, basically, I basically fed you, clothed you, bathed you, gave you a place to stay. You know, I'm being dramatic for dramatic effect. I'm not saying she literally did all that, but she's saying that she gave him a platform via Queen Radio and basically gave him a space where he could get his footing back into the blogging industry. Me personally, I don't like that because it's like now, oh, because you did me a solid, now I gotta be beholden to you for the rest of your life. I have to bend the knee. I have to kiss the ring every time you step into the room, which makes people believe that Nikki is basically buying the blogs. This is the rumor. Her as well as they're saying that Cardi does it too. You know, there's been accusations where, you know, she got Jason Lee in her pocket. She got Armand Wiggins in her pocket. I don't necessarily believe all that. I do believe that these two women are a lot alike than they want to admit. Except the difference between Nikki and Cardi's actually nicer. Cardi's someone that has more of a personality that people relate to, that people actually would want to work with. Nikki's not easy to work with because she's still caught in this whole situation. I'm the queen, I'm this, I'm that, I'm better than you. That's her overall attitude. And Miss Mama's, your insecurity is showing. So, yeah, they went at it and all this other stuff. I ain't got time to sit here and break down every little thing what was said, but it was nasty. So, oh yeah, I already said about the whole. So Cardi posted, and here's the funny part. So while the insults was going on and while everything finally died down, Cardi posted a prophetic tweet where she predicted the next course of action in the dispute would be a diss track from the Atlanta MC. And here Akbar goes, releasing this song called Bothered. And I'm hoping that Cardi does not take the bait. Number one, I've been saying for the longest, but I get it, she's young. But girl, you're 29, you're about to turn 30. You got 2 kids. Speaking of which, she did say that, you know what, you got 20 minutes because after that, that's when I got to devote all my energy and my time to my kids, something you don't know nothing about. Because, you know, according to the word on the curb is that Akbar does not have custody of her 5 children. And we saw that on Love and Hip Hop. That's where she's from. She's from Love and Hip Hop. We saw like she was going through it where she didn't have custody of her children. Her cousin is Kandi Burruss from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kandi bought her a house, was trying to help her with the whole situation, like having her priorities in order so she could get her kids back. So I haven't watched Love and Hip Hop in years, so I don't necessarily know what has become of that, or if she's even still in the show. I don't even watch those shows anymore, so I don't know what's going on with her. But I have to say this. Cardi stopped fighting with low-hanging fruit. And this is another thing I forgot to mention too. Now, Cardi gave Akbar an opportunity before anybody else did, which I don't understand why all of a sudden you fighting with Cardi when Cardi put you on the Bruised soundtrack. Now, for those who don't know what Bruised is, the Bruised soundtrack, I know it sounds like I might be saying bros, which came out this weekend. I definitely want to go see that movie. I'm gonna try to go see it, but I've seen, like, when I was looking online, sidebar, a lot of showings and a lot of movies. So if this is supposed to be the first big mainstream movie, you know, to be playing in theaters, why aren't there a lot of showings? But that's a whole nother conversation. Another thing is, why y'all releasing Bros in October when this is Halloween month? Y'all should have released that over the summer during Pride Month. That would have been the smarter move. But anyway, I'm not the marketing person. I don't work at Universal. I'm gonna mind my business and stay over here and do what I do. Okay, let me stop. I said my business. My job usually is getting y'all business to talk about it. But anyway, so the Bruise soundtrack is the movie where Halle Berry directed, and she played the MMA fighter. She incorporated a lot of female rappers on that soundtrack. One of them was Akbar V. So I don't know why Asbar is jumping into the conversation and trying to fight. I believe it has to do with because Akbar is also on the remix to Super Freaky Girl. So I'm thinking, because it always seems to be like clockwork, whenever somebody collaborates with Nicki, there's always this little inclination that I have to assert myself and fight with you. And then Nicki's in there liking and making little side jabs and indirect comments and this, that, and the third. And then when people call her out on it, she was, I wasn't doing that. Like, you know, just throwing the rock and hide your hand type of thing. So she doesn't have a lot of minions. And we do know that Nicki has a reputation for having girls fight her battles. Or you have to show some type of loyalty. She's literally like a dog owner with a bone. And there's like 5 dogs around her. She only got 1 bone. And just dangling it and just like, okay, which one of you bitches want this bone and bad enough? Come get the bait. Come bite it. Like that's basically what Nicki gives me when it comes to a lot of these low-hanging fruit that sit around and just worship the ground she walks on and, oh, it's the queen, it's the queen. Well, Miss Mama's like I said before, why don't you at the BET Hip Hop Awards, you the queen? You have these other female rappers there, you should be able to walk in a room and hold your head up high because you the baddest bitch. Or is that just Trina? I might want to know. But anyway, yeah, the song is ass. It's trash. Go back to the drawing board. And like I said, Cardi, can you focus on putting together this sophomore album and stop worrying about fighting with people on social media? Because to me, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of your talent. And I believe that she said that she had an opportunity. She lost out on $1 million deal. Damn, I forgot what it was. I think it was a video game or something or another. She was supposed to partake. I think it might have been Call of Duty or something or another. Wish I would have had that note. But she lost it because of her past. And it's like, girl, you out here fighting with these people. You're going to continue to lose these $1 million deals if y'all out here consistently fighting. You don't want that reputation. Just focus on your career. Focus on raising your children. Focus on your husband and your business and personal endeavors, and stop giving these girls your time and your energy. You're bigger than that. But I guess, you'll learn that as you get older. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, so let's get to our final topic, which is Todrick Hall, child. So this was not on the docket earlier, but this
Todrick Hall ordered to pay $100,000 in unpaid rent after being sued by owners of a plush home in Sherman Oaks.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited that you all are here. I have been wanting to buy a home for a very, very, very long time, and this is a dream come true. I saw over 50 homes to decide to get this one, and when I saw this one, I fell in love. I'm talking about that like Ali and Noah Notebook kind of love. But here, come inside. The water fountain's a little loud. Walk in, there's this huge display right here. I love this so much, and I love that there's like a little Andy Warhol thing. You know that my first love is theater and all things on stage and over the top and whimsical, and so this is my Broadway room. There was a pool table here when I saw the house, but I decided to put my piano in here. I only know how to play one thing on the piano. Anyway.
He once claimed he purchased. Todrick, just pay your bills.
I was like, yeah, put the screen back, because it was like people could see, what was going on. I wanted to see that whole, But anyway, we back. So yes, can you pay your bills? Can you pay your telephone bills? Prepay my automobiles so this bitch won't be on the welfare line, broke as hell. Okay, let me stop. Anyway, so yeah, and bitch better run me my coins news. Out musician Fraudrick Hall has been ordered to pay his landlords $100,000 in unpaid rent after he was sued by the landlords on the house in Sherman Oaks, California, which he claimed he owned, but yeah, we knew otherwise. Now, shout out to the Daily Mail for this tea. So the 36-year-old YouTuber had reportedly been in a rental agreement with landlords Avi and Orna Lavian, or Lavian, tomato, to pay $30,000 a month for the 5-bedroom, Why is there more bathrooms than bedrooms? But anyway, 5 bedroom, 8 bathroom residence, according to TMZ. Hall had even made it seem as though he owned the property when giving a tour to fans, as y'all saw in the video prior, on the YouTube channel, calling it his dream home. However, he has now been ordered to pay $100,000 in damages plus another $2,000 in attorney fees and costs per the report. Now, news of the disagreement was first reported in March this year when he used which he was used for initial sum of $60,000 according to Us Weekly. Before I go on, I forgot to mention, what's worth $6 million? The house? Child. Anyway. Or is he worth $6.1 million? Anyway, so yeah, there's no way he can afford that. I don't even think Todrick's making that. I don't even think Todrick's making that kind of coin to be able to pay, you know. Oh wait, remember? Oh wait, sidebar. Wasn't there a situation where they had the cast of Big Brother at his house? They had like a big party because, you know, they made history again this year where they had a first black woman to win Big Brother. I said celebrity, the regular Big Brother, because it just ended. And didn't they just have a big party at the house? So I don't know if he was there, but we was thinking, like, is this his way of paying off those payments? Like, you renting out the house for like parties and things of that nature? And you pay, like it's the club, like you have them pay a fee to get up in there. So that kind of was like what I was wondering. But anyway, so they said the landlord said in legal documents that they issued a pay or quit notice to Hall on March 3rd via another person who resides in the house. Oh, bitch, you got roommates? Okay. The landlord submitted a civil complaint to the court on March 29th, according to the outlet. Now, in the original lawsuit, the landlords asked the court for $60,000 in rental fees for the months of February and March 2022. Now, in addition to attorney fees, $1,000 per day in damages, a forfeiture of the rental agreement, and all other relief the court deems just and reasonable. Damn, girl. Oh, by the way, I should point out, shout out to let's not forget the time that he said he was robbed of some of his stuff. I believe his ass was robbed about as much as I believe Miss Tariq and her damn husband PK over at Beverly Hills was robbed. There's a lot of stuntations that be going on where a lot of y'all be hiring people, allegedly, to come up in y'all houses and fake a break-in just so that way y'all can get that insurance. I'm not buying it. And Tariq is a whole stunt queen, or as I call him, Fraudrick. You know, we got the real government name down here, but I call her Fraudrick. And shout out to Tommy Italiano, because that's who that video was, the TikTok. That's how I got wind of it, because I was scrolling through my Instagram and I was like, wait a minute, say what now? Like, I missed the whole thing. And so I was like, let me go and look up the story and do the research. And I did, and I wrote the article and I posted it, and it's been going viral and everything. And we're gonna get this video to go viral again, because you know my last Todrick video went and it just blew up. So and you know, Tommy used to work as Todrick's assistant, and he blew the whistle on Todrick and his stuntations back in the day, and a lot of people didn't believe him. And then that episode I did of Drinks and Drag, where I basically was like, I remember the time when Tommy was out there and he was saying all this stuff and people was calling him a hater and dragging him this, that, and the third. Now you bitches are awake and now you see the tea. You see the truth with her. I'm sure he got his supporters and he'll find a way to weasel his way around this story and make some story up and make some claims. You know how Todrick does. Especially how, like, you know, when the whole Celebrity Big Brother situation and how he was acting on the show. And he refused to do the interviews afterwards. Remember that? Where everybody sat down and did an interview, and the only one that voted for him was Cynthia Bailey, dumbass. Because she like a horse with blinders on. Just don't see nothing. Just see what's in front of her. But yeah, let me remind y'all of, all that stuff. Remember, because he said he wasn't avoiding the press, but we knew otherwise, because we said that. It was like, you knew your behavior on the show. You became aware of it because hashtag Todrick is over party. And I believe it's trending again. We should have hashtagged that in this episode. But Todrick Hall, because when I posted this article earlier, I put that story in that hashtag. So I was like, Todrick is over part. That's still trending, or is retrending. So yeah, there's that. So he said this about the time when he was on Celebrity Big Brother. He was like, I haven't avoided press because I'm afraid to comment on my experience on Big Brother, but more to protect myself and my mental health to make sure I can actually get my show on stage and fulfill my obligations to my fans and my paid employees. He put paid in caps, by the way. And this is what he said back in March 12th. Child, I don't believe it. You ain't paying your rent. Ain't no way you paying them damn employees. He also added by saying, I have no desire to prove myself to people who were never rooting for me to begin with, but I do want to say to my fans that I will be commenting on my experience once the show is open because I feel you deserve it. This is that gaslighting bullshit. Child, first of all, don't sit up here and say that you have no desire to prove yourself to people who never were rooting for you. And it's not, we're not just supposed to be, look, this is not a scene out of Mommy Dearest where it's like, why won't you give me the respect that I'm entitled to? And then Christina goes, says, because I am not one of your fans. This is not what this shit is. This is not a scene out of Mommy Dearest, bitch. This is some real life stuff. If you're not paying artists for their, their time and putting together all the work that they doing for you, be it costumes, set design, whatever the case is, or people who are dancing, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of times dancers don't get paid to work with artists anyway. Todrick ain't the only one. But since we talking about her, let's focus on this queen. And then you sitting up here not paying your rent. You have been, this is my dream home. It's fabulous. Like lifestyles of the rich and famous. We know a lot of bitches rent their houses out. And I'm gonna say this. Let me preface this by saying there's nothing wrong with renting out a mansion. There's a lot of celebrities that do it. However, I don't think people I'm all for renting, because when the day comes I want to get the fuck up and get the fuck out, I don't want to have to be stuck with no damn mortgage and being with a situation. Well, the mortgage be paid off by then. But I'm just saying, like, if I'm ready to move on and get a whole nother house, I don't want to be in a situation where I'm stuck with this house and I can't get the house away from me and I can't move on unless I've gotten rid of this house. We've heard so many stories about people who buy homes and it's like you put it on the market, you're constantly having to dilute the number on the original ask because you're trying to sell it, and it's just a headache. And sometimes you don't want to be a type of stuff. Sometimes, I'm a gypsy. Like, I'm the type of person that I'm just ready to get up and go. And if I'm only going to be in a short place for a short amount of time and I'm just like traveling a lot, but I don't have time to stay in this home, I'm willing to rent out a place until I get to a point in my life where I'm ready to like officially settle down into a home. But, the girls out here, they want to always try to live beyond their means. They always want to stunt. We see it a lot of times, countless times on The Real Housewives and so many other shows. And we get gays who get in that mindset too, where y'all want to just be out here stunting. And it's like, we would have more respect for you if you would just be yourself. But we don't know who Fraudrick is. I don't know who he is when he makes his music. I don't know who he is when he's being personable or having to be a personality or whatever. I don't know who he is. They haven't asked you back for Drag Race. I wonder why. He did do The Masked Singer. And then right after that, he did Celebrity Big Brother. And the reason why people didn't like, I've been talking about a lot of assholes today. I've been talking about the baby, Boosie, Kim Burrell, penguin looking ass, and now this heifer. It just been, today's been brought to you by a bunch of damn assholes. That's basically what it is. Like when you watch Sesame Street, today was brought to you by the letter T. This episode was brought to you by a bunch of goddamn assholes, basically, at this point. Because Mercury is definitely in retrograde with the way y'all been behaving. Anyway, so if you ain't got the coin, I suggest you call up Miss Tayonce Swift and ask her ass for a loan, because if you ain't got the coin, that's supposed to be your best friend. Maybe you need to hit up and ask her if you could borrow some of that "Look What You Made Me Do" coin. Because, you know, she got a new album coming out. Maybe you're not as close as you claim. Who knows? Anyway, we've come to the end of the show, y'all. I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. Tune in next week. We come back with a brand new episode of The Rundown. Love you all for watching. Also, follow my social medias. You know, it's The Chris Avalon on the Twitter, on the Gram, Facebook. You can just Google the name. I mean, just type in the name. It pops up. It's all there. Also, follow, click like, subscribe this channel. So that way the algorithms can go up and I can be, you know, these numbers can go up on the views because I've been doing a lot of shows and these numbers are just not moving. So I need your love and support. I need your likes. I need you to share. I need to do all this stuff. And yeah, I'm going to chop up this episode and make shorter versions so that way we can get some more traction. And I'll post it all on my social media platforms, which I've been doing. So I know a lot of people have been saying to me also that they're not even getting like the alerts that I'm going live, which I find quite bizarre that they don't. A lot of people will be telling me, it's like, I don't even know when you go live on YouTube. I don't know what to tell you, but we need to unsubscribe and subscribe back. I don't know. Sometimes YouTube would just blow my mind. But anyway, that's all I got. We'll come back next week with a brand new episode of the hottest topics of the week. So until next time, ciao, darlings.